clinical researchers just wrapped up an investigator meeting in New Orleans, waiting to get back home so I can get to work. Caught a mini cold. That won't stop me though. This video is going to be about networking because during this investigator meeting, I actually got a lot of YouTube comments and questions from viewers about what I would do if I were to start over in the clinical research industry. Like if I wanted to be some kind of an entrepreneur, build any kind of business in the industry, what would I do? How would I start over? And the answer is really, I stumbled into this industry on accident. I did not proactively seek to get into this industry. I stumbled in on accident. I'll actually do a longer form podcast on this topic because I want to dive deep into it. But bottom line, if I were to actually actively want to get involved as an entrepreneur, as a business owner in this industry, no matter what it is, if you want to be a site owner, if you want to be a vendor who's creating a startup or something around the technology space in clinical research, which is an exploding industry, or even like a contractor, like if I wanted to be a contract CRA, a consultant, there's tons of opportunities in this space. I would start, if I knew about the industry already, I would start on clinicaltrials.gov. And clinicaltrials.gov, it's still so extremely underrated and, believe it or not, quite underutilized in our industry. So if I were starting out, the foundation is networking. What are you interested in? What indication? If you're a PI, obviously you want studies, right? Or if you're a hopeful PI, you want to get studies. If you're a hopeful site owner, you want to get studies. If you are someone who wants to be a CRA or a consultant or a vendor, you want to get names, you want to get access to study directors. You can find all of that on clinicaltrials.gov. There's just tons of data there. One of my new publications, the Clinical Scoop, it's not new, but we're redoing it. It's going to scrape clinicaltrials.gov study results, and we're also going to add some editorial on top of the clinicaltrials.gov study results and do some interviews with people who were involved at the sponsor level and at the medical director level with the studies that are going on or the studies that have given their results out. There's nobody reaching out to these people. There's people who publish their study results that you actually on clinicaltrials.gov can find their email and their phone number, in many cases their cell phone numbers. You can text them, you can email them with the subject of their study. There are plenty of people who would at least read your email to them if your subject line had something in regards to their study, particularly if their study is something that they want to talk about, meaning if it had good study results. So that's an easy, quick way to network. In other industries, you have to pay for this kind of access to decision makers. In our industry, you don't have to. It's clinicaltrials.gov. So no matter what kind of business I were starting out, I would start with clinicaltrials.gov as the foundation. Whether I wanted to open a site, a CRO, whether I wanted to get into the biotech space, the medical device space, anything. All right, contract CRA, consultant, even just non-contract CRA or study coordinator. You can find so many research clinics in your area that you can network with. So the networking never stops on clinicaltrials.gov, and it's a free product because it's something designed for patients to utilize. But us in the industry, we can hack it, and there's even tools built on top of it. I use Zymewire as one of the tools. There's tons of tools built on top of it to get even more access to this data. So that's what I would do in a nutshell if I were starting over and I actually knew what I was doing a little bit, or at least I knew where I was headed or what direction I wanted to head in, as opposed to when I really started, it was just on accident. So I had to learn everything just as it happened. Here, if I had a little more of a roadmap, I would start with clinicaltrials.gov as the foundation, start networking with people, start going to conferences. There's tons of conferences out there. Find out who you want to meet, introduce yourself, through email, through phone, through text, through letter. Find out who they are on LinkedIn. Find out what conferences they're going or speaking at. Go to those conferences. There's so much you can do there, and it's such an underutilized website, clinicaltrials.gov. So that's what I would do. Stay tuned for the podcast. I'm going to have a 30-minute podcast on this topic so I can get really deep into how I got started, what I did, what mistakes I made, so you can not repeat those. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.